This is What's Up Punk. We're taking a look at the myriad of subgenres underneath the umbrella of punk. Today we'll be taking a look at Cape Punk, Excelsior. And yeah, new intro moving forward. As much as having a drag and drop intro saves me time, it's also kind of boring. As the name would suggest, this form of punk is about the capes and cowl crowd. I know superheroes never been more in mainstream, but here's my superhero credentials. Love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Love the Arrowverse. Love the DC Animated Universe. Bruce Timm is one of the greatest creators ever. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes is one of the best Western animated series ever. Graphic audio is Goram amazing. And I don't read that many comics. Mostly because decompressed storytelling just doesn't work for me. I can't wait months for a full story. However, that's not to say I don't read comics. Favorite ongoing I read all the way through, and because of this video I'll be reading again, is the 2000s JSA. With two of my favorite characters of all time. Alan, I don't need a secret identity because too many people got my secret identity as it is. Scott, the original Green Lantern. Man, coming out from Half Court, my favorite hero of all time, a legacy character, a meta-human, but despite the fact she can crush a man's skull with her voice, her hands are her deadliest weapons. Trained by the heavyweight champ, she's been a florist, an Irish ninja, a punk rocker, was a summer intern to the deadliest assassin in the world and forced her into fishnets, has been agent of the Oracle, a member of the JSA, and has been the chair of the JLA. A proud mama. If one tries to figure out who she is on Arrow, you will need a degree in quantum mechanics. Oh hell, yo Khaleesi. Dinah Lance, ladies and gentlemen. Kicking ass in WW2 because comics are weird and awesome. So this was probably a mistake. Not doing the episode, as this show's mission statement is to highlight forms of punk most people don't know about. But maybe not quite so short into my cataloger of punk career, as I am mostly deconstructing deconstruction. It's like eating an ice cream cone from the bottom up. Yes, it is doable, but it's gonna get a bit sticky. What is Cape Punk? Okay, when I first heard Cape Punk, I assumed it was superheroes without the capes and cowls, aka
no capes.
I was a little off the mark. For the most part, superheroes still wear capes and cowls. Cape Punk stories tend to be either reconstructions or deconstructions in nature, analyzing what makes a character tick, as well as how they relate to the setting as a whole, and whether or not superheroing is a worthy endeavor. And sometimes just the day-to-day of being an advanced human. Or, as I like to think about it, pioneers, absolute power, and the why of superheroes. Pioneers, as the name would suggest, is a world similar to our own. While people with enhanced abilities don't exist, we are aware of the concept. However, for one reason or another, something has come along to change that, gifting or cursing normal citizens with abilities beyond compare. In the short-lived new universe of Marvel, it was the White Light event. In that universe, until July 1986, the universe was our own. Then the titular White Light event happened, making 2 and 1 million people an advanced human. In Infamous, humans with the conduit gene originally needed a device called a Ray Sphere, and a lot of equivalent exchange, to activate their abilities. In the 4,400 people were snatched across time and dumped in 2004. Enhanced by future science to have extraordinary abilities, leading to the discovery that non-4400s had a 50-50 shot at developing an ability as well, with the help of Promycin, leading to the criminalization of Promycin shots. Not only to contain the spread of superpowers, but if you weren't P positive, you died. I'm not sure if this is a response to the fact that most superheroing goes on in the East Coast, i.e. New York and Chicago. A lot of Cape Punk takes place in the grungy West Coast streets of Seattle. Anyway, these are worlds where there is no long-standing tradition of superheroes, no JSA or the like, and no people of power in positions of power, like Tony Stark or Mr. Fantastic. No public face is what I'm saying. Grassroots superheroes, which has its own benefits and problems. On the positives, we're a lot less strict with the whole secret identity nonsense. So friends are usually the guy in the chair, and no need not to attack the corrupt government jackboots or other enhanced threats. Laying on the other side of the spectrum, we have superheroes being more involved with already existing institutions, like Liv Moore of iZombie, using her extra normal abilities to solve crimes both as a medical examiner and as a hero. Oh yeah, iZombie is Cape Punk. It's based in Seattle, based off a comic book. Zombies are more like ghouls than Romeros, and Liv has her own arch enemies. The downside of the Pioneer universe is the punk evil 2-4, corrupt governments and corpse. With no established history or public face, the enhanced human can quickly be designated as a biohazard, and it's easy to misuse a person when they aren't considered a person anymore. Starting off all sorts of fun little activities, like in the world of strong female protagonists, most superhumans were about 14 when they received their abilities. With a world full of arrogant and hormonal super beings and no way of dealing with it, they conscripted the ones that were useful but not crazy as child soldiers, while bumping off the ones that could do some real good. More on that later. In infamous Second Son, the agency overseeing conduits goes bug nuts and figures trapping all conduits behind the walls of their own prison is preferable than having them free, locking them up regardless if they are a threat or not, so reactionary humans don't kill them, even staging a prison escape to perpetuate her plans. On the corporate side of things, we have an old standby of playing the short game and not the long game. In iZombie, Max Rager, the energy drink company, finds out that their product is one half the cocktail that creates zombies. Instead of using their resources to develop a cure, they instead use zombies as a resource to enhance the Max Rager formula, giving humans access to the enhanced abilities similar to a zombie. We also got using superheroes not as weapons but intellectual property, and designer superpowers that may not last long but will keep the customer coming back for more. Absolute power.
I know this is a massive cliche, but
absolute power corrupts absolutely. The bread and butter of the Cape Punk story is that superheroes are massive dicks. Or that when gifted with powers beyond compare, people will just be massive dicks. Celebrity consumer culture as most awful. The Boys, comic, not TV show. Even the second string superheroes are depicted as party boys that play musical chairs with their paid sexual partners. And 3 of the 6 premier superheroes ask their newest female member for a blowjob. Not even an hour into the new gig. Obligatory Weinstein reference, and we're walking. Yeah, K-Punk likes to focus on both the comedy and horror of super beings in the boudoir. You know, the mall rats of it all.
Fantastic Four, Reed Richards. Can his whole body stretch? I mean, every part, you know, like his...
I know what you mean.
Glad we keep it classy around here. Then again, there's worse things to be than a sex-fueled, super-powered ad campaign.
I'm an action figure!
Like mind control, mind wiping, forced disarmament. Whoops, I meant to be using examples from Squadron Supreme. Has Marvel ever thought of suing DC for using all their ideas? Yeah, K-Punk tackles the idea of what if superheroes took over. Usually this isn't out of malice. That also happens. On the not malice part, Linkara explains it best when talking about Superman 4. Many times in comics, the question of how far Superman should go is raised. If he is truly the moral compass of which so many people look to for answers, shouldn't he make decisions that affect more people? Shouldn't he intervene even in places he may not be welcomed? Ultimately, comics tend to give the same answer. No, he is not a god. People focus so much on the super part of his name, they forget he is just a man. He is just a man! Superheroes are like punk heroes, but they tend to get stepped on more. They're not here to be leaders of men. They're here to be in service of their fellow man. K-Punk explores what happens when Superman forgets the man part of their name, or buy into the hype that other people thrust upon them. Like the Crusades of old. How can anything I do be immoral if God is with me? Just how much worse is that thought process if the deity is you? This has nothing to do with anything but BTW. Counting video games and animation, Superman has taken over the world like 4 or 5 times. Creators are really into this idea. I'm surprised Supes hasn't legit run for office in the comics. The why of superheroes. Okay, generally I feel people that ask this question are stuck in the mindset that we're still in like the gold and silver age. The days of the planets is an urban legend. Dude did tugboat a few once. After Crisis on Infinite Earths and more science entered the popular zeitgeist, superheroes got depowered a bit. However, that is still the question K-Punk tackles. Why be a superhero? Do superheroes make a difference or just cause more problems?
Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. And conflict breeds catastrophe.
And can superheroes really save the world? The general K-Punk answer is no. Superpowers and supernatural abilities can, but generally the superhero trappings can't. However, there's a large distinction I want people to make. There is an ocean of difference between saving the world and saving the day. Putting on tights and punching arm dealers all the livelong day isn't going to fix the big issues plaguing humanity. However, at the same time,
sometimes shit happens, someone has to deal with it, And who are you gonna call?
Extraordinary threats need an extraordinary response. Technology. Oh boy, we are all over the map tech-wise. If you even have the basic knowledge of superheroes, you know that all of them have super strength. Hell, some of them have human-level strength and about a green belt's worth of training. No, their power is the mind. Smiths have radically changed society and the battlefield with the power of their minds. For Marvel, well,
I am Iron Man.
but some Earths don't have those smithies, so we're just going to skip it outside the general points of tech level we have already discussed. Aesthetics. Skipping this one too. See, usually the aesthetics of a superhero story is contemporary. Looking at you, Steve Jobs Stark. Unless it's intentionally going for a timeless vibe like Umbrella Academy or Gotham, we're just gonna skip it. Where did Cape Punk start? Propping up its dead-ass corpse. You want that? That's Linkara. I ain't about that. But yeah, Watchmen and Squadron Supreme. Both these bad boys, one on the DC side and one on the Marvel side, finished their runs around the same time, about a year apart. Funny old world, while not the first or placed against. Not giving my thoughts on the big blue penis, but I will give you a summary of Squadron Supreme. It's the Justice League, so Marvel can do crossovers, not jumping through all the legal hoops. In the first maxi series, just after a crisis left the states all manner of messed up, the SS put in motion the Utopia plan. Basically, for 1 year, they would have unilateral control over the country and try to make it a utopia. And in the process, almost committed every act that led us up to Infinite Crisis. 18 years earlier, sprinkling some of the grim and gritty realism of the Dark Age. Right, some of you didn't go running through the 90s. I just made an initial D reference in 2020. What is life? Okay, real pill form here. You want some more? SF Debris, follow the Comic Books Empire, link in the description. Here we go. The Dark Age of Comics, 1985 to about early 2000s. Well, long before these years, comics were getting more mature. Here's where they started getting dark and violent and less mature about those subject matters. Many seminal stories came out of these times, but also a lot of egregious art and evil acts by quote-unquote heroes. Real-life Cape Punks. The real-life superhero project. Real people who take up cape and cowl as a form of activism. Through dressing up and doing stuff in the neighborhood. Participating in neighborhood watches. Sometimes real vigilantism. The first recorded real-life superhero was Super Barrio, celebrity, satirist, and organizer. Donned a costume inspired by Mexican Superman El Santo. Fight crime in the form of organizing labor rallies, protests, and filing petitions to prevent families from being evicted. Since the mid-2000s, an online community has blossomed from this subculture. Find out more by googling the real-life superhero project. Time for those recommendations. Last Dance, an audio drama you can find on YouTube or Spotify. About a bar, a henchman, and a funky disco goddess.
She glides backwards on her skates, beckoning me with one hand while she points at the jukebox with the other. As soon as she does, Ozzy's Crazy Train stops dead in the middle of Randy Rhoads' guitar solo.
Invincible. One of the best K-punk stories I've seen in researching this subgenre. The art's on point, it's well written, with heavy topics, gore, and lighthearted moments. It's a damn good comic. If you enjoy the Jonathan Kent Superboy, but looking for something with a bit more bite to it, read this comic. Umbrella Academy. Cliff Notes. What if Professor X legally adopted the X-Men and wasn't just a bad surrogate father figure, but also a bad leader? Answer. Awkward hookups, a strung-out drug addict medium, talking chimp, time travel, and the end of the world. So largely the same, but someone got a book deal. In many ways better than the X-Men. Strong female protagonist. I hate almost everyone in this fucking webcomic. Especially the protagonist. It is goddamn tedious to get through. So why is it here? Well written, well drawn, and does ask thought-provoking questions. I just wish I gave any kind of damn about anybody in this comic. Dr. Terawatt. Hold up, I'm gonna need some ambiance. Toronto's greatest supervillain. However, his gaze is far wider than that. He will rule this world, but not out of petty greed or need for attention, but to save it from itself. He's aided by associates. Also, he does a pretty decent Twitch stream.
Gonna be remote kicking some ass. Just looks over. I have to pee.
Dr. Terawatt. because a gigawatt wasn't enough to describe him. Now, how do I feel about K-Punk? I'll be honest, if it's not Pioneer, it's emotionally draining. I'm used to people being dicks. I'm a punk. A glare and a well-timed head nod is my universal hello. But seeing XPs of superheroes being malignant for very little reason just damages the soul a bit. Add to that the overabundance of deconstructions out there, and it can get really draining if you marathon it like I do for these videos. Pioneer, on the other hand, is friggin' cool. Who hasn't dreamed of what they would do if they were a Bang Baby? What your life would be with superpowers, how the world around you would change. Personally, I'd be Goku. Find stronger and stronger opponents and fight for honor and glory, pushing myself to the absolute limit. Start a Fight Club. Tenkaichi Budokai rules. It's a great punk genre with a lot of worlds to explore. You just have to have a strong stomach and flexible morality. Alright, let's get that sign-out question. Would superpowers make the next decade better? Punks were in the 2020s, and it's not quite as cyber and biopunk as this would-be YouTuber would like. However, that doesn't mean a miracle drug or a cosmic anomaly isn't around the corner to jumpstart the next evolutionary leap. That being said, would it make the next generation better? I say yes. Not saying there wouldn't be deaths and growing pains, but it would be a shock to the system and the status quo. If stagnation is death, then any opposition to that must in some small facet be an agent of life. But put down your answers in the comments and get the convo going. Till next time, save the day but burn the world down. See how you might look with some bioluminescence. I'm sure there's an Instagram filter for that. Hack your own brain, but keep on being a no-good, dirty punk.
You know it, you love it, here's the spiel, let's do it. Hit subscribe to be my subscriber. Hit the bell so you know when I've actually posted stuff. Still no idea why those two things are separate now, but whatever. And of course, hit like to appease the algorithm gods. All fear and praise. On a list of whatever YouTubes, I am also probably not going to get any ad revenue for these videos, so if you would be so kind, check out that Patreon and the GoFundMe. Links in the description.